Over the past few decades, the topic of marijuana legalization has gradually become a question of not if, but when it will happen. With Democratic and even some more moderate Republican legislators now pushing to legalize marijuana across the country, and with over 60% of Americans supporting full legalization, we are left with one question. Are hardcore conservatives getting left behind on this issue in a way that is costing them elections? Now sure, it's just weed, right? But for a significant number of Americans, the freedom to enjoy their lives without being bothered or interrupted by the government is a preciously held value. The Declaration of Independence says Americans have certain unalienable rights. Among them, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. If a citizen indulges in an action that is not harmful to anyone else but themselves, then that conduct should not be illegal, specifically in the case of a relatively safe drug like cannabis. Almost 100 years ago, the government instituted a constitutional ban that completely outlawed a similar drug, alcohol, from recreational consumption. This period was known as Prohibition. However, the ban had the opposite effect of its intention. Studies have found that the ban created an underground organized crime market plagued by violence that would not have been necessary had the government provided a safe, legal path to alcohol sales and consumption. Now, despite the war on drugs continuing to wage on as it has for the past few decades, the black market for weed is thriving more than ever. Marijuana, even in states where it is still illegal, is easy to acquire. It's a futile effort for the government to attempt to control something that can easily be regulated and taxed instead. In 2018, California and Washington, two states where recreational weed is legal, each collected $300 million in tax revenue that would have otherwise gone into the pockets of organized criminal gangs. Meanwhile, the federal government and other state governments continue to waste billions of dollars criminalizing marijuana with financial resources that are needed elsewhere. Republicans are supposed to be the party of law and order, but by outlawing marijuana, they are inadvertently creating the opposite effect. Current-day violence related to the marijuana black market can be deadly, leaving lasting scars in communities that don't need them. Children, teenagers, family members are shot dead, and it's all unnecessary. In 2010, African Americans were locked up at 4 times the rate of whites on charges of marijuana possession, even though the two groups used the drugs at similar rates. Sometimes people tend to lump in marijuana with other much harder, dangerous drugs such as cocaine and heroin. However, weed is arguably safer than alcohol, which is already legal. There has never been a death directly tied to a marijuana overdose. However, there are countless real-life deaths of those involved in its illegal sale on the streets. Every election cycle, Republicans hear the same talking points. They are out of touch, they can't win with minorities, they can't win the youth. How can the Republican Party turn this trend around? Well, for starters, they could help legalize marijuana, at least medicinally. 93% of Americans support medicinal marijuana. This would help sway those voters who deeply care about the issue, as well as help show other voters that Republicans are capable of changing their position on issues that are widely seen as common sense. While there are also much more important issues that these voters care about, making the switch on a popular initiative like marijuana reform can be seen as an olive branch of sorts that would benefit Republicans electorally. If the Republican Party ever really wants to make inroads with youth and minority voters, they should start by ending their pointless war on marijuana. Questions may remain over the effects of long-term heavy usage or how to stop high drivers, but when you vote against an issue that even a majority of your own constituency supports, you are doing nothing but alienating voters. It's time for the Republican Party and conservatives alike to rally around this issue. At the least, Republicans in Congress could sign on to a bill that deschedules marijuana as a Schedule I drug and leaves the issue up to individual states. Full federal legalization is probably still years away, but Republicans need to hurry up before they get left behind. Thank you for watching the Zach and Matt Show. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And stay tuned for more videos.